If you want to find meaning in certain things, read some Rachel Cusk, okay? Rachel Cusk will validate you and your lived experiences as a woman. You know what I mean? And don't be so far removed from your daily life to think that you are completely different from the person sitting next to you. That's another thing that I get from her. She more so makes me think, who are you to think that you're so different, you know? What is up, everybody? It's your girl Jaded Reads here, aka Diamond, back with another video. Today is going to be a reading vlog, except I don't know how much is going to be in this reading vlog as far as like me detailing books. We're talking about books, we're expressing ourselves in the books that we are reading and how they make us feel. But as far as like plot, a lot of character, I don't know if I'm gonna be doing all that, okay? But first, if this is your first time seeing my face or knowing of my existence, my name is Diamond. I go by Jada Reads on this channel, and over here I like to do reading vlogs, book reviews, and everything in between. So if that is something that you're interested in, I think you should consider subscribing. Okay, so right now we're starting off the vlog in the car. That's nothing new here. Your girl is always on the go. We get it in how we can get it in. Okay, so it's the beginning of November, and I have so many numerous various clips that I started and stopped, so you might see some flashbacks within this vlog, just so I can go ahead and embed that footage and get it just out of here, because I don't know where my life is going as far as these videos are concerned. They're done and over. The books are done and over, or I have not finished those books and I'll come back to them, who knows, okay? But we will center this vlog around some literature. Okay, so I've done a reread of Outline by Rachel Cusk, and I am at the tail end of it. I'm on page 191, and I do have some thoughts. Okay, so we are going to talk a little bit about Miss Rachel and the things that she makes you think about. I have finished James by Percival Everett, and where I'm about to get ready and go right now is one of my favorite coffee shops, and I'm going to get my thoughts together on James. I finished James days ago. I finished it in October. It's going to be in my October reading wrap up, but I have so much that I want to say about this book, and I couldn't do a vlog because I read it so fast, if that makes any sense. Like, I finished this book in 2 days, and it just was too much going on within this novel for me to continuously pick up the camera and like update you guys about it, if that makes any sense. And plus, I'm excited to see if it's going to win the Booker Prize. November 12th is the announcement. But I have so much that I want to say, and I've already gathered a lot of my thoughts, and I've written them down in my commonplace notebook. But we're gonna go and sit and finish Outline, and we're also going to go and sit and get our discussion together regarding this. And I have started another book on my books that I'm going to finish out the year with, Lolita. And so I'm on chapter 10, which is 35 pages. Not a lot, but this book is going to take some time as well. Like, not time as in it's going to take a long time to read, but it takes a lot of. So as I was saying before, my camera dropped. Hold on. I was saying that this book is also going to take personal time, and like, you have to sit with what is being described and what Humpert is giving us regarding his perversions, which is for the nymphite, or the nymphette, which is the young girl, the little girl. So yeah, we're gonna be reading these. Well, we're gonna be reading these two books and going back over the one in this vlog. And who knows, I don't know, I might have other things to say, to share, to discuss. I don't know. But yeah, I do know that I wanted to, my hair. I just be wanting to make sure that my little pinup looks cute. But anyway, I did know that I wanted to vlog today, and I wanted to get the whole thing up. Like, I wanted to talk about these books and be like a one-day video, which is what I'm accustomed to doing. So yeah, what are you guys doing? What are you guys reading? How? That's the new Tyler, the Creator. I never use my rearview mirrors, but I'm using them today. So yeah, what are you guys doing? How are y'all feeling? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. What are y'all reading? Me making videos and vlogging and discussing books and everything like that, that is my outlet. This is like my number one thing that I do.
Please fasten driver seat belt.
Okay. This is like the number one thing that I do to have some sense of normalcy in my life, you know? It's easy for people to be like, go out, make friends, have an in-person book club. Somebody told me that the other day when I was book shopping for those books that we already did the video on. I met her, we were chit-chatting, talking. She was looking for something, and she asked me about one of the books I had in my hand. I forget the one. And then we just went off on a tangent about books. I recommended a couple of my favorite books to her. I actually got her to purchase, what did she buy? She bought Jane Smiley, 1,000 Acres, and she bought Circe by Madeline Miller. Two of my favorite books of this year. Two of her favorite books of the year, that bookstore didn't have them, but I did write them down. She told me, okay, I thought I left my commonplace notebook. And I listen to people. Like I said, I take recommendations. She told me that Pope Joan by Donna Ross was her favorite, and A Reliable Wife by Robert Gurich. So I told her I'd find those on eBay and I purchased them. But she also was like, online, the internet, she was like, why don't you just start your own book club and in person? Get with people in person, and she was like, she had a book club, but you know what she didn't do? She didn't invite me to hers. So I'm like, how good are they? How good are they if you're not going to invite me to your book club? You know what I mean? So it's like, people always have so much to say, and I'm not ragging on her or anything like that, but she did have a book club. She didn't invite me to hers. So I just felt like they weren't as good as all of that. If you my screen time is down 8% this week, which I don't spend a lot of time on my phone anyway, but my average is like 3 hours and 42 minutes or something like that, like some great number, because that is a great number. How do y'all like my hair? It's really nothing, you know. But anyway, that's that. I'm reluctant to discuss because, girl, whenever I turn, and please don't mind the coffee cups in the back, okay? My tumblers in the back, and I have two in the front. That is how chaotic my life has been these last 3 months. I'll take them in when I go home. I'll wash them and get them ready for this week, because that's literally what I have to do. Okay? So, anyway, that's how chaotic my life has been, y'all. But I literally want to start yapping away about James this instant, but I don't want to become repetitive because I want to like sit down. What I've noticed about this channel, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but what I've noticed about this channel is a lot of my distinct titled videos where I'm sitting with the backdrop being my bookshelves in my bedroom, and I have one subject about my books or about the books and bookish subject. Those videos do really well. But when I, like for instance, when I did the intermezzo reading vlog, I had some really, really good detailed thoughts about that book. But because it was hidden under the guise of it being a vlog and not a definitive response or definitive reasoning behind why intermezzo was so good and why you should read it and why I'm recommending it, or an analysis, which is typically what I kind of do in my vlogs, because that wasn't like the video, if you understand what I'm saying. It wasn't a sit down about intermezzo. That video didn't do that well. I think right now it's sitting at 277 views, and that was a great discussion about that book, you know. And I was thinking about doing a In Defense of Sally Rooney video to follow up with it, because I've read all of them, all of her novels, and I have great talking points about it. And plus I want to respond to Fats over at Baby Bag Books for all of that slander. But that'll have to be later on, because the main book, let me get over it because this street is really raggedy right now. But the main book that I want to read, or that I want to sit and talk about right now, is James. It's James. Girl, guy, girl, child, whoever's watching me, it's just something else. You know what I mean? And not for nothing, I'm enjoying all of the discourse online about it. But one thing that people have to note is that reading Percival Everett is a part of reading diversely. Even though he's taken a quite well-known story and put his own spin on it, it's nothing like Huckleberry Finn. And so I feel like people inserting the idea of reading Huckleberry Finn first and then reading James second, it's not necessarily a must, but it's like, oh, I would recommend that you do that. For what? For what? It's not to discount, what is the author of Huckleberry Finn? I forgot his name. It's not to discount what he has offered to the literary world, but that book is horrifyingly racist, and it doesn't have a great ending. And to read about a slave from a black man's point of view, and to get all of the giving that is Jim/James from the perspective of a black man is so necessary. And so the diverse way that Percival Everett decided to discuss the intellectual ideology of a slave person, an enslaved person, back in what was going to be the cusp of the Civil War, hence then emancipation, is excellent. It's an excellent idea, and it was excellently done. And so anybody that has a negative response to me, to James, is morally not sound. Anybody that has a negative response to it, I'm second guessing who you are as a person. Because it's just like, how can you ever try to dissect what it is that Mr. Everett is trying to do here? How can you do that? And there's no way to slice it and dice it. Slavery was wrong in every which way, and it was wrong. And anybody with a soul knew it then, and they know it now. And so some of the language, some of the videos, some of the discourse, some of the comments that I read on Goodreads, crazy, insane. And it makes me really worry about what we are as humans, you know. So anyways, I've been just on a complete deep dive of Percival Everett, his background. I'm excited to read all the rest of his books. I'm not in a rush, but I am going to be a Percival Everett completionist. I'm just a new fan. And I think I'm going to try to do the trees physically, because remember I mentioned how, if you watched that last video, I did try to read the trees, but I tried it on audiobook, and it was funny. I love the characters and all of that stuff, but it lost me. So yeah, and see, here I am. I said, here I am. I clearly just said that I want to have a sit down video, and I just can't help but go off at the mouth about this book. It is amazing. It is amazing. It's stunning. It is just great, and I'm gonna probably have to give it a reread probably really soon. But anyway, that's it for James, because like I said, it's gonna be a sit down video because I have a lot of thoughts. I have a lot that I want to say and there's nobody that I can talk to about it in my daily life. It's really not. When I talk, I have conversations all the time with my ex-boyfriend Adrian. Shout out to you. He's one of my most favorite people in this world, even though we're not in a relationship. One of my most favorite people. And even I got him to get it on audio. That's something because it's like I'm not gonna force people to understand why it's great to do a physical book, especially when they're not a reader. But even when I was about to like start going off at the mouth about James, which I at least got him to buy it on Audible, people just won't be into it that aren't natural born readers. They're not into it. They don't want to really hear it for long spurts of time. You're lucky if you can keep their attention for at least 10 minutes, so I just start noticing when people are like over me gushing about an author or gushing about a book, and I just shut the fuck up, you know what I mean? And then that's when it's just like, I remember I have a community who loves books just the same as me, and sometimes people don't even be readers, but they really like looking at videos of people who are readers talk about books. I've seen numerous people say how I think it's more exciting to watch a booktuber than it is to actually read the book, which is why I was making reading vlogs in the first place. You know what I'm saying? It's a very niche community. It's not a whole lot of us, although it might seem like it's a lot, especially if you are a booktuber. You might think you're in such competition with so many other people, but in the grand scheme of things, it's a very small community. And I just thought that I might add that, so yeah, that's my little spiel on James, just in a sense. But I will be talking about Rachel Cusk. I will be talking about Rachel Cusk, and I will be talking about Lolita. Because Lolita is a modern classic, you know what I'm saying? Everybody knows what Lolita is about. I don't feel bad about adding potential spoilers in this video or discussing these nuanced layers. I love nuance, is like my word of the year, and layers, because James is such a layered character. Woo! I just love that book, y'all. But anyway, girl, Miss Mamas, ma'am. And the reason why I decided to do a reread of this is because for two reasons. The last time I read Outline was in 2000. When did I get my braces? It was in 2022. It was May 2022. So it has been 2 years since I read Outline, and I'm quite interested in finishing up the trilogy. And so I really did feel that I needed to ingratiate myself with this character who remains unnamed in Outline, but I do think we find out her name either at the end of this or in the next book, which is Transit. And so I found it quite necessary to read this again, and what a joy. I picked up on things that I totally forgot about. I have a newfound understanding of what it is that Rachel Cusk is doing here, and I'm also older. So I had just turned 30 when I read this for the first time, and so I have more notes. I have way more notes, and I have some really good things, or some parallels. There are some parallels between this character and her experiences and what's going on in my life in this book. You know what I mean? And I got some interesting things to say. And so what I'm going to do is we'll talk more about this, like once I get settled at the coffee shop and everything like that. And then I'll read some more of Lolita, and then we'll discuss. Like I've I've been taking some serious notes on outline. And for me to only be 35 pages into Lolita, on Lolita too. So yeah, I got some stuff to say and I want to say it, you know, and I'm just yearning for more discussion. And I don't know how I'm going to be able to garner that. I don't know if I mentioned to you guys that I do have a second channel. I have not touched that channel since January. My last video was about me quitting education, and that video did numbers, and a couple of my video essays did numbers too. So I know that, or I know how to generate community and make videos that people really want to converse about. But I want to more so do that on the bookish side of things. I rarely ever see police officers on motorcycles pulling people over, or in general. Did I just pass one? That's funny to me. It's just funny to me. Ha ha ha. But yeah, I'm trying to like figure out how to get that really going on my booktube side of things. And honestly, I might not be able to do that because, like I said, for the most part, like, people aren't reading like that for real. And a lot of people aren't reading what I like to read per se, or I am doing a good job of recommending, but at the end of the day, people aren't going to come back and like communicate with you about a book until they read the book, because it's like, what are we going to discuss if you actually haven't read the novel, besides letting me know, you know, that this was a great video and that I'm going to add these books to my TBR, which we all know our TBRs are never ending, because mine has absolutely no ending. So sometimes it's also just like, maybe I am the conversation, because I do watch a lot of booktube, and a lot of times I don't say anything. A lot of times I don't comment. I will like and I will share the video, but I don't comment. But sometimes I do just really love hearing people talk, so I don't, you know, it's like give or take, basically what I'm trying to say. It's like give or take what you get out of the booktube community, you know what I mean? Like, I can't be too picky about it. But I do know I am loving Shelby in the book club. I am loving her vlogs. I am loving her recommendations. She's the reason why I'm gonna pick up Modern Home by River Solomon. Never been interested in a River Solomon book. You know, I heard it's a thriller, kind of spooky. It's about like a spooky house, but really what is making me interested in that book is the conversations that you're able to have with the language and what topics and themes Rivers Solomon is decided to write in that book, basically, is what I'm trying to say. So yeah, I feel like I've just talked so much, which I'm needing to. I am needing to. See what I'm saying? Like, girl, with the job I work, it's like never ending. If y'all don't leave me alone, be calling me on my day off. Why are you calling me? I'm not answering the phone. I'm just not doing it. Somebody else gonna have to deal with it. Somebody else gonna have to handle it. So anyway, I refuse. You would think I was a manager. You would think I was the manager. So with the organization that I work for right now, it's like never ending. The job is never freaking ending. You are always needed all the time. Hence why I'm working like a slave. How I feel, of course, I'll never work like a slave, because slaves never got paid. But I'm just saying. But anyways, I'm working, and even on my day off, they call me. Like, but if you're the manager of this organization at this particular place, you're supposed to be pretty much on call 24/7, because you're getting manager salary, and it is your station. So you have to be available at all times to answer for anything. I'm not that. I'm not a manager. I'm a supervisor. Okay? I only get paid for the days that I work. The hours that I work. If I'm not on the clock today. I'm not on call. Why are y'all calling me? Don't call me. Leave me alone. But that's kind of how it is when you are, when you're like the go-to. You know what I mean? Like when you're the person that can always solve a problem. That's how it is. They'll always lean on you for support for anything, you know. But now I have boundaries because I'm starting to see this is a really bad street. Not my tires, it's the street, girl. If y'all hearing it, it's the street. It is not me. It's the street. So anyway, as you can see too, I fixed it. Girl, I just put a safety pin in the back. It's like a little elastic piece in the back. You can just like, you can easily slide a safety pin through there and just pin it on your garments. Which I'm glad we wear clothes, because if we were naked society, I wouldn't even be able to do that, right? But anyways, clearly y'all, I'm happy to be off work today. But with the company I work for, it's always something. So it's probably something I'm going to have to answer to tomorrow. Something I may have forgot or something. I don't know what they want. But guess what? They're not getting a communication from me today. So we'll have to just figure that out. We'll figure out what they want tomorrow, because I'm not answering the phone. I've been called by 2 people. It's above me at this point. And we're almost at the coffee shop now, which I'm hoping it's not crowded. I'm still gonna pull out this camera though. I'm gonna whip out the camera, but I'm hoping it's not crowded to where people are gonna be like all up in my face, because my camera is compact, but with my whole setup and everything, girl, people will look at you. People will stare, especially when it's something that they don't understand. And even though we've been making videos for years, I've been making videos on and off on the internet since 2014, for 10 years, on and off. People still act like it's the weirdest thing ever for you to be talking to a camera. They really think that you're talking to yourself. Girl, I am talking to my internet friends, okay? I got friends on the internet. Oh, snap. I'm a little hungry, too. I meant to make myself some oatmeal before I left home, but I feel like if I stayed in the house any longer, I wouldn't get out and do what I wanted to do, which was make a video outside of the house for a change, you know? So, yeah. I'll talk to you guys when I get there. All right, can we just talk about Rachel for just a minute? No, I did not finish. I just read another 20 pages or so, and I have like 10 pages left, but whatever. I just read. I'm savoring, you know, there's no rush for anything, but yeah, I read about 20 more pages of this, and yeah, I don't know, I want to just have a little discussion really quickly. So I'm sitting outside the coffee shop. I got super invested in Lolita, and I just never turned the camera back on. It wasn't too crowded, but it's just like whatever. Story of our lives, right? So anyways, I came across this page that was just like mind-blowing, you know, and I just wanted to share it, and I messed up. Honest, what is that? Honest. All right, I have to fill in some blanks here because my little post-it messed it up. So that is with, and then this is live. All right, so these are the parallels that I'm saying, that like, this is the mind-blowing stuff of Rachel Cusk. Like, she is an innovative, she's ingenuitive, all the things. Of course, you guys know she's a genius, she's super smart, talented, all this stuff, but she is also, she is very thought-provoking. All right, so let me read this. But to him, this is a game, a fantasy, Elena says. Men like to play this game, and they actually fear your honesty, because then the game is spoiled. By not being honest with the man, you allow him to continue his game, to live in his fantasy. As if to prove her point, my phone sounded on the table. It was a text from my neighbor. I miss you, it said. This is a narrator. So if you never read Outline, of course, it's a series of conversations. The whole novel is conversations between her and the people that she encounters in Athens, Greece, while she is teaching a literary class for a couple of weeks out there. And so in the beginning, she meets a man on a plane, and they continue to have moments with one another throughout the novel. And so this is the neighbor texting her, I miss you, he said. It was only when you got beyond people's fantasies, Elena continued, about themselves and one another, that you assessed a level of reality where things assumed their true value and where they seemed to be. Some of those truths, admittedly enough, were ugly, but others were not. The worst thing, it seemed to her, was to be dealing with one version of a person, then quite another version existed out of sight. If a man had a nasty side to him, to his character, she wanted to get it immediately and confront it. She didn't want it roaming, unseen, in hinterland of the relationship. She wanted to provoke it, to draw it forth, lest it strike her when her back was turned. That particular passage popped out at me because as I matriculate through this life, as I get older, that is continuously what I want to understand about people that I am constantly in contact with, whether it be male or female, whether it be monogamously or platonically. I want to see people's true colors before I envelop myself with them, before I ingratiate myself with them, before I allow them to see the real me. Speaking to me, talking about Beautiful World, Where Are You by Sally Rooney, and how those conversations and the relationship depicted in that story between Alice and Eileen was very comforting to me, and it made me realize how a person should be in relationship platonically. And so hitting on this part, these aspects that are touched on in Outline, is very much how I am in my real life. Like, the older that I get, the more I really listen at the things that people say. I read between the lines, because people will tell you exactly who they are in their conversation with you. They don't really realize, depending on how intellectual or how smart the person is that they are talking to, they don't realize that they're completely giving themselves away. And so sometimes all you have to do to poke that bear is to insert different things in the conversation that you are getting from the person, and then you see how they respond to you, and that's how you're able to tell who they are. And so I really resonated with what this woman was saying here, and I was like, You know, I don't think I could have put it so eloquently as Rachel Cusk in writing, but I was just like, whoa, you know, this lady is really like, she's really touching on things that I see in my life, you know. And there's this other part that was so, it made me laugh out loud. This part about how the unnamed narrator felt about the neighbor, you know. So this is her friend, so they're hanging out with each other, and this is how her friend is like trying to like pick her brain about this guy that she's like been seeing on and off, but not like romantically, since she's been in Athens. All right, so I would like to have thought it likely, she said, that you would go off on a boat with a complete stranger. What is he like? Do you like him? And this is the narrator. I closed my eyes and tried to summon up my feelings for my neighbor. When I opened them again, Elena was still looking at me, waiting. I said that I had become so unused to thinking about things in terms of whether I liked them or whether I didn't, that I couldn't answer her question. My neighbor was merely a perfectly good example of something about which I could only feel absolute oblivious. But you still let him take you on his boat, she said. It was hot, I said, and the terms of which we had left the harbor were strictly, or so I thought, the terms of friendship. I described his attempt to kiss me when we were anchored far out to sea. I said that he was old, and that though it would be cruel to call him ugly, I had found his physical advances as repellent as they were surprising. It had never occurred to me that he would do such a thing, or more accurately, before she pointed out that I would have to be an imbecile not to have seen it as a possibility. I thought he wouldn't dare do such a thing. I had thought the differences between us were obvious, but to him they weren't. She hoped, Elena said, that I had made that fact clear to him. I said that, on the contrary, I had come up with all manner excuses to spare his feelings. So she was silent for a while. If, she said presently, you had told him the truth, if you had said to him, look, you are old and short and fat, and though I like you, the only reason I am really here is to get a ride on your boat. She began to laugh, fanning her face with the menu. If you had said those things to him, you understand, you would have heard some truths in return. If you had been frank, you would have elicited frankness. She herself, she said, had visited the very depths of disillusionment in the male character by being honest in precisely this way. Men who had claimed one minute to be dying of love for her were openly insulting her the next, and it was only in a sense, when she had reached this place of mutual frankness, that she could work out who she herself was and what she actually wanted. What she couldn't stand, she said, was pretense of any kind, especially the pretense of desire, wherein someone feigned the need to possess her wholly, when in fact what he wanted was to use her temporarily. These conversations are mind-blowing, only because these are conversations that I have had in my life. And so, like I always say, because I am a black woman, so I'm a black woman, I'm a POC, I'm a woman of color, and so I by design am diverse in just my daily life. That is who I am. So I have the consciousness of what people see in me, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Because I'm a black woman, the way that I live my life is completely different from my peers that I watch on the internet that read things like Outline, Rachel Cusk, Sheila Heti, Jonathan Franzen, Simone de Beauvoir, all of these people, right? The Asians that I watch, the Koreans that I watch, the white women that I watch, the people from New Zealand, from Australia, that all speak about Rachel Cusk and the things that she did, her ingenuity and her innovativeness. So I watch what they say about Rachel Cusk, and I watch what she gives them, or the life that she gives them, or the ways in which they explain or take in her writing. So it's very interesting to me to listen and watch them, and also adhere to my own desires and my own thoughts about what Rachel Cusk is or what she's saying. And so only thing I can say is that I still arrive at the same idea, that no matter where you are from, no matter what industry you are in, no matter your color, your age, your sexual orientation, the human body, the human experience is so related in aspects that will never be truly explained. But if you are conscious enough of your surroundings and the human design, you will know that. You will know that you are not so different from me, a black woman. None of you guys are just like super duper different. No matter how you try to slice it and dice, we're all the same. And so it's proven by a simple conversation that two women are having in outline regarding regarding the perception of the male gaze or the male species. If you are heterosexual, if you are a woman who dates men, all of our experiences are so similar. We are, it's like sometimes I'm just like, how dare some people try to like alienate themselves from the culture of like just like a human species, or from being American versus being French. Or of course we have different lived experiences, but internally, and if you add a lot of depth to the conversation, we are all so similar. And so in that conversation that these two women are having, it's just like, I have said these things. They may have come out differently because of my upbringing or because of where I'm from in the world geographically. I'm a Memphian Southern black woman, but oh my goodness, have I said these things before? That's why I like Rachel Cusk so much. I just love it. I just love it. These conversations, regardless of if I'm making sense or not, if I'm offending or whatever the case may be, these are my own thoughts, these are my ideas. And so I want, or I seek out realness. She is validating me and my lived experiences, basically. I feel validated and I feel seen as a woman. Reading outline in particular, I feel seen as a woman, the way that she is discussing this. And I have been, this is a way for me to like add to like the single conversation, or of why I'm single. Like, I can't help but see through the lens of men and how they respond and talk to me, how they view me. And that is repelling to me. And it makes me not want to insert myself in a heterosexual relationship based on the conversation that these two women are having. I can't help but see it. Only thing that men these days typically seem to know how to do is to use. They use you. Or that's it. That's all they know how to do. They compartmentalize things and they prioritize things. And a lot of times women are like the last on their list of things, unless you are continuously giving them life, because that's another thing that women do. We give life to things. We put things into perspective, especially for the male species, in a way that really helps them to grow. And then when they're done, or when they have grown in a particular frame of their life with their partner that they're with, either they see or find something else valuable in you, or they leave you by the wayside and they go to another woman that'll help them get to the next level. They leave that woman, they get with another woman, and they'll have, you know what I'm saying? It's like a continuous like ladder climbing. They're climbing the ladder. And oftentimes too, men don't realize that they show how jealous they are of you by the way that they treat you. And so you have to be cognizant of who you are as a woman, and you have to really take hold of your life to really pay attention to your partner and how he sees and views you. For me though, I've always recognized in the different relationships that I had what the sense of what the balance was between the two. And I've always left because it was always something so unsatisfying, whether it been in myself or in my partner. Only one instance did I leave someone because I was unsatisfied with who I was and I wanted to grow in my just in my womanhood. The other two relationships that I had, it was completely them. and I realized it sooner than later, and I had to leave. But it's just so funny to me how oblivious the main character was to what the neighbor was going to try to do to her, or, you know, just like, not like he did anything bad, but how could you not see that he was going to be interested in you in some particular way? You guys are spending this intimate time together on this beautiful place, on this island, or whatever you call it, on this yacht. You didn't think he was going to make a move on you? Even I'm not too far removed from reality to know that all men really see on the surface is what I look like. That's all you have to go off of in the first place. That's where the connection comes from first. First things first, it's about the appearance of a person. How attractive do they find you? You know, it's just excellent. My lips are dry. It's excellent. This book is excellent. So you want to be provoked in your thoughts? If you want to find meaning in certain things, read some Rachel Cusk, okay? Rachel Cusk will validate you and your lived experiences as a woman. You know what I mean? And don't be so far removed from your daily life to think that you are completely different from the person sitting next to you. That's another thing that I get from her. She more so makes me think, who are you to think that you're so different? You know? Who are you to think that? That's the vibes that I get from Rachel Cusk. Love her. Love her, love her, love her. That's just only a few. I can go on and on and on. But I'm not going to. Now, moving on to this. I dive deeper into this as well. And all I can say from my reading of Lolita and our person writing this story, Humbert, is he, well, I can read something. Girl, what do I want to read? I have a couple of things. There's a few things. All right. Trigger warning. I mean, it's not really too much, but trigger warning anyway for Lolita. But this isn't like something just so like disgusting. But here it says, I felt that my perception of her, if properly concentrated upon, might be sufficient to have me attain a beggar's bliss immediately. But like some predator that prefers a moving prey to a motionless one, I plan to have this pitiful attainment coincide with one of the various girlish movements she made now and then as she read, and such as trying to scratch the middle of her back and revealing a stippled armpit. But Fat Hayes suddenly spoiled everything. That's how he looks at her mom. That's how he views her mom. Like, if you've seen the movie, you know, he is so repelled by Lolita's mother. But like, are you getting a sense of like the writing? If you've never read Lolita, I think one of the main things to know about it is that it's written beautifully, you know? Give me 1 second, I gotta change the battery. Yeah. Lolita's written beautifully. It is really intoxicating to like read it, although the story in and of itself is one of a predator preying on, you get the like intricate details of a predator preying on his prey, and he even describes it as such. That's why I said, like, one thing to know is that this man Humbert knows exactly what he's doing, and he knows that he's wrong for it. He knows he is a demon who is being fueled by the devil. He knows it. He knows that he's wrong, but he still persists. And so that's what I found very interesting. And this is him describing that he knows that. This is the one that I'm going to read. All right, so I knew exactly what I wanted to do and how to do it without impinging on a child's chastity. After all, I had some experience in my life of pederosis. Had visually possessed draped nymphette in parks and wedged my weary and bestial way into the hottest, most crowded corner of a city bus full of strap-hanging school children. But for almost 3 weeks, I had been interrupted in all my pathetic machinations. The agent of these interruptions was usually the Hayes woman, who, as the reader will mark, was more afraid of Lo's deriving some pleasure from me than my enjoying Lo. He's talking about Lolita and her mother. It's the passiveness of Lolita's mom for me. Her not realizing how strange and how intense this man is lusting after her child. I would be able to tell. So it's also kind of like unnerving to think that this woman is not paying attention to the dynamic that they're all sharing together, because as Humbert describes scene by scene by scene, that right now I have not gotten a true scene where Lolita's mom is not around. There's only been one right before I was finished reading, and we can talk about that later. But it's just like, how can you not be weary of this man, this grown man around your young, beautiful 12-year-old child? You know, you're more so worried about his uncomfortableness versus your child's. And so that's the annoying part of reading this for sure, because me being a mom, myself and my daughter being 10 and going through puberty and growing up, and you know what I'm saying, like these male-centered women, I'm really afraid of them, basically. There's still a lot of them living in this world, but Mrs. Hayes, Lolita's mom, male-centered. Okay, you could tell she is derived of the male sex. She is desperate. I haven't gotten those vibes from her yet, but I think that's what Vladimir is doing. Like, he's like leading us up to like realizing or understanding Lolita's mom, or Mrs. Hayes' character, of course Humbert's character, and Lolita in and of herself, even though she's a child, you know. Where was I? The passion I had developed for the nymphette, for the first nymphette in my life that could be reached at last by my awkward, aching, timid claws, would have certainly landed me again in a sanatorium, had not the devil realized that I was to be granted some relief if he wanted to have me as a plaything for some time longer. So I read that to just let you guys know, or show you guys, like, he knows exactly what he's doing. He knows that he's wrong. He knows that he's a predator. He knows that he is demonic in nature. He knows that he should not be lusting after a child. He knows that. And he also knows that if he's speaking on past or prior incidents that he has, like, put himself in with younger little girls, he should have been in jail. But see, the devil allowed him to go at it again. And so this is also like leading us into knowing that this is the last time he'll be able to do it. But he's going to seek out his prey, and he's going to succeed in it, and he's going to be caught, and he's going to be going to jail. All of this foreshadowing and, you know, whatever the case may be. But it's a magnificent book as well. You know, I mean, like, I have cringed several times in reading it, and I'm only now on page 62, which is supposedly chapter 14. You have to take this book slow. I have to take it slow. I have to read it in increments, but it's easily readable and digestible, because of course you're not getting to those parts where, you know, it hasn't described anything to where I feel like I can't continue on. I feel like if I could read A Little Life, I could read this. Of course, you're going to cringe at the things that he is saying, but just know, like, just take it for what it is, and just like try. You know what I'm saying? If you're interested in Lolita, I think you should try it out. It's really written beautifully. I think that's probably the part that's really getting me, is how nice, how beautiful the sentences are, and the language that Vladimir Nabokov is choosing to use. If I'm making any sense, I really like it. I mean, I think it sounds cringe of me to say that I like this book because of the context or what it's about, but I do, girl. I do. I like it. I like it. So we're going to continue on. We'll continue on in the book. So yeah, I'm done with this coffee shop. I'm gonna go home and probably clean a little, and just like straighten up my place, make myself some lunch. I'm kind of on like this journey of just trying to eat healthier at home. You know, I've really realized what food does to me, that I don't eat, that I don't cook myself. I've paid close attention, and so now, unless it's like I just had that was cinnamon toast on sourdough, which sourdough is pretty much organic, it's gluten-free and all these things, so it's good for you. So I'll eat that, or like I'll have oatmeal from pretty much anywhere, things of that nature. Of course, fruit smoothies and stuff like that I'll eat out. But as far as like fast food or like going to restaurants, I don't know, I think I'm gonna start becoming that person that eats before you go, but you still go if you're invited somewhere, and like maybe have like an appetizer that's completely on the more healthier side. That's kind of what I'm leaning towards, especially since my daughter is dealing with this new thing in our lives as regarding her health, and so we have to kind of just like shift her nutritionally into more natural, kind of wean her off of any type of meats, and we're gonna like take her to being plant-based. So I'm gonna just be doing the same thing, because like what better way to like make sure those changes go into effect if you don't like join in on it. And that's typically what you kind of have to do when you're a mother, because your children look at you every day. So it's just like, how can you tell me to be one way or do something and you're not? So that's kind of like what we're leaning towards. So pretty much the only reason why I left the coffee shop is because I'm kind of on the hungrier side, and I don't want to partake in the food there unless I get more bread, which also don't want to eat a lot more bread. No, that'll go straight to my hips, you know what I mean? My thighs. For you women out there that watch me. And so, yeah, so I've been out of the house for what, 3.5 hours now. It's time for me to go back home for sure, and I'll read some more for the rest of the day, but I need to really be on chill. As I was saying on our way to the coffee shop, you know, it's just like my job is just doing too much right now, and I really need to just like focus on just like being more zen and zoning out. You know what I'm saying? I found myself, as I was reading through Lolita, I was thinking about work a little bit, and I don't want that. Like, I don't like that at all. Why am I thinking about things at work? That means the job is taking a little bit too much of my personal like thoughts and my time, and I need to really decompress, you know? Among other things that I'm dealing with and going through, the job needs to be the last thing on my mind. And I know we're all going through things and dealing with stuff, so like my plight with what I'm going through is small seemingly, but y'all, when I tell y'all, it's really a stressful job. I know I should be grateful for it because it's a good one, but at the same time and token, it's almost like those things that people are saying, like, good job or not, like, how does it make you feel on a day-to-day basis? Is it stressing you to the point where you can't eat, you can't sleep, you can't stop thinking about it? Good job or not, you might have to let it go. It just depends. So I do try to make sure I pay attention to the patterns, my daily patterns or my weekly patterns, like that are contingent upon what I'm dealing with at work. Because I am no stranger to leaving something and trying something new. Okay, that's one thing about me. I will try new things. But I do stay at places for long periods of time. You know, like I was a teacher for 8 years. So, you know, and for 6 of those 8, I was at the same school. Even though I didn't teach the same grades, I was at the same school for 6 of the 8 years. So, you know, but I'm not afraid to leave anything, you know, if it really isn't serving me, especially now in this day and age. But anyway, yeah, this has been good, I guess, you know, like, we've chit-chatted and we've talked, right? I'm on my way home to really work on my James thoughts, and I'm going to also do another video. It's going to be a sit-down video, but this was going to come out before the James one. So this was going to come out first, and then my October reading wrap-up, and then my James video. So we have 3 videos coming up. I'm excited about all 3. I just wanted to like get this one like in motion. Honestly, I'm not even going to like insert any of the other clips. We could just add those to another video and be done with that. But I just wanted to have a little fun today. Do the things that I enjoy, get myself out the house just a little bit, get some normalcy about myself, and come and talk to you guys about some of my recent reads and things that I'm reading right now. You know what I mean? Just know it is November, early November. This probably go out November 3rd, 4th, 3rd. Yeah. Spent the most of the time in the car also. So yeah, anyways, I think that's all I have for you guys. I'm not sure. Maybe I have another clip. If not, but let me go ahead and just say bye. So thank you guys so much for watching. And I'll see you in my next upload, girl. Deuces.